Today, we're going to talk about Guy Spier's book, The Education of a Value Investor. And it's an incredible story, really. It's all about how a brilliant, super ambitious guy makes this one catastrophic career choice that nearly wrecks everything. We're going to see how he claws his way back to build a life not just of wealth, but of real wisdom and purpose. So let's dive into how it all went so wrong before it went so right.
This quote from Spier himself just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just a how-to guide for investing. It's a confession. He's starting his story not as the hero, but as the kind of character from a Wall Street movie that we're all taught to hate. And yeah, that really is the central mystery here. I mean, what makes someone with literally the best education you can get do something so spectacularly foolish? It's a question that forced Spier to basically re-examine every single thing he thought he knew about success. Okay, so our story kicks off right after Spier graduates. He's full of confidence, ready to take on the world, and he takes his first job, a move that sends him, well, straight into the belly of the beast. Now, just look at this slide for a second. It's jarring. On one side, you've got the absolute pinnacle of academia, first in his class at Oxford, a Harvard MBA, and on the other, a firm the New York Times literally called infamous for its shady dealings. So how on earth does someone from the left side of this picture end up on the right? That's the whole question, isn't it? So, why'd he do it? Well, Spier is brutally honest about it. He says he was arrogant. He totally ignored the red flags, even warnings from his friends. He didn't want to be just another suit at Goldman Sachs. He wanted to be some kind of entrepreneurial maverick. And it was that mix of hubris and rebellion that led him right through their front door. It really didn't take long for that shiny veneer to wear off. Once he was inside D.H. Blair, Spier was confronted with a grim reality that pushed him right into a full-blown crisis, both professionally and morally. And this just perfectly illustrates the kind of business they were in. The deals were never about solid fundamentals. It was all about sizzle, things that sounded exciting, like, you can't make this up, a new space station backed by flimsy contracts from Kazakhstan. The goal wasn't actually to build a space station. It was to sell a story. And that gets to the crucial point here. The firm's purpose wasn't to serve its clients. Not at all. It was to feed its own money-making machine. And that machine needed a constant supply of deals. Good, bad, it didn't matter. Just to keep the gears turning. And this machine was designed to profit at every single turn. They took warrants to get a piece of the upside. They controlled the trading to make a ton of money on the spread. They had a literal boiler room of brokers pushing these sketchy stocks onto unsuspecting retail investors. And Spier's role in all of this, he and his fancy Ivy League credentials were the fig leaf, the respectable, trustworthy face on a very, very ugly operation. And this is his moment of truth. He realizes he's not just in a bad job. He's in a place that is actively corroding his soul. He felt that if he took one more step, he might have just become one of them and lost his moral compass for good. So, at his absolute lowest point, completely disgusted with his job and with himself, Spier found an escape. And in that escape, he discovered a lifeline, one that would pull him out of the muck and show him a completely different way to live and work. Yeah, he just couldn't stand being in that office anymore. So he'd sneak out at lunch, wander through a park, and often find himself in a business bookshop on Broadway. It became his sanctuary, a place where he could finally breathe and think, far away from the pressure cooker of D.H. Blair. And it was in that bookshop that he discovered the philosophy of Benjamin Graham. All of a sudden, investing wasn't about sizzle and hype anymore. It was about logic, about analysis, and about owning a piece of a real, tangible business. It was rational, it was clean, and for Spier, it was a complete revelation. And through Graham, he found Warren Buffett. Here was a guy who was wildly successful but lived by this incredible code of integrity. He wasn't backstabbing partners or selling junk to Main Street. For Spier, Buffett became more than just a role model. He was like an anchor in a moral storm. He clung to that idea. So Spier quit. He got out. But escaping was only the first step. He now had to face the real-world consequences of his mistake and begin this long, pretty painful process of completely rewiring himself. And the brutal reality hit him hard. His pristine resume was now stained. He was damaged goods. In the eyes of Wall Street, he was either too stupid to see what was really going on at D.H. Blair, or he was complicit. And either way, all the doors were slammed shut in his face.
So what do you do when the traditional path is completely blocked? Well, you've got to find a new one. Spier faced the rejection head-on. Then he did something his Oxford professors probably would have laughed at. He went to a Tony Robbins seminar and literally walked on hot coals. And crucially, he stopped just thinking and started doing, analyzing companies, building mock portfolios, and actually educating himself in a way that truly mattered. This whole ordeal, the moral crisis, the rejection, the re-education, it all led Spier to his single most important discovery. It's a concept that really redefines what it means to be successful, not just in investing, but, in life.
He learned the difference between the outer and the inner scorecard. See, the outer scorecard is what drove him at Oxford and at D.H. Blair. It's all about what other people think. Am I successful in their eyes? Do I have their approval? But a true value investor has to live by the inner scorecard, judging themselves by their own standards and principles. You have to be willing to look like a fool to the crowd, as long as you know you're right. And did this new mindset actually work? Well, this number says it all. That's the cumulative return of his aquamarine fund from when he started it in 1997 through the writing of the book. By learning to ignore the crowd and trust his own judgment, he achieved results that absolutely crushed the market. Ultimately, Spier's whole journey led him to this profound conclusion. He chose the wrong environment, and it nearly broke him. He then consciously chose a new one filled with mentors like Buffett and a philosophy based on integrity, and it completely transformed him. So we'll leave you with this question. Spier's story is this powerful reminder to just look around at our own lives, our jobs, our colleagues, even our friends. Because when you think about it, the most important investment decision we'll ever make might just be choosing the right people and places to surround ourselves with